a very, very daunting corner. So that gives you some idea of why it's difficult to be a two-time winner here. Now, there's lots of other stuff going over the showground here, and with more on that, here's Bill Allen with our SCCA Weekly Paddock Report.
Well, each week after the Trans Am races, the crews have got a ton of work to do. They have to go through the engines and transmissions, rear axles, brakes, fixed bodywork. But on Boris Said's, it's a little bit different. Started out as this plain blue number 4, then became blue with some names on it. Now it's orange with names. What's going on here, Jeff?
Yeah, it seems like that Boris guy, all he ever wants to do is paint the car and put new decals on. So, you know, we do what we can.
Making only a second appearance of the 1995 season is Bruce Barkaloo. Now, Bruce, you ran quite a few races last year, only 2 this year, but we understand that next year, new car, new team, and you're going to do the whole season. Now, what's changed your mind here?
Well, San Susi Lido, our Jamaican sponsor with the program, was very good for them last year, and they want to do it again, and I love going to Jamaica, so I'm going to go down there as often as I can. I just hope I remember to come back.
Well, in the 1995 Trans Am season, these crews normally only have 1 or 2 weeks between races to do all of that work. Now suddenly you got 4 weeks off, and I can see you're already coloring tires. Is that all you guys got to do?
This is just to fill in the time till we can get our new copies of Windows 95.
Well, the Roush team is a 2-car team, but one without team orders, because each driver, once the green flag falls, can go at it as hard as he wants. John Gooding, it's a 2-car team sponsors too, both drinks, but you're Mountain Dew.
Mountain Dew is the one. I mean, it's a great brand here in the South. You know, the All Sport, it's a new brand that Pepsi's got going that's doing really good to compete with Gatorade and the other products out there. But we're still the big guy here.
And you obviously think this is the best one.
Of course this is the best one.
Wait a second. John obviously hasn't heard that since All Sport came out that the game has changed. And that was in the old days, like when they used to have fixed baskets, et cetera, et cetera. So All Sport, there's a lot of work out here, so we need to recoup the fluids. But I've been looking for an after-dinner drink.
I'll try this.
Let's try this guy.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Phil Bartelt, one of the best independent runners in the Trans Am Championship, had a great line at Three Rivers, Quebec. After tagging the wall in one of the sessions, he blamed it on the crew. I said, how did the crew do it? They made the car so good, when I turned the wheel, it turned in. Now the crew has got this car working for you so well, and you're finishing. This is your last race of the year.
Yeah, it is. We're looking very much forward to this particular race. We felt a little disappointed at the Glen. I was looking forward to an excellent race there and had a motor go. So this will be the last one this year, and then we're looking forward to next year. So I want to make this one as good as I can make it. And I got a crew that can do it.
This Paddock Report has been brought to you by the SCCA. If you'd like to get a little more excitement on your weekends, then it's time you discovered racing the SCCA way. The Sports Car Club of America is your ticket to the pit lane and the fast lane. For SCCA membership information, call this toll-free number, 1-800-972-6662. That's 1-800-972-6662.
Benny's Shoes is now bigger and better. We've expanded our store to give you even more selection. The brands you want at low discount prices. And still the same fun, friendly service that has made Benny's the place for shoes since 1909.
You won't believe your ears.
Dirty.
Getting an instrument for school is less expensive here than anywhere else. Clarinets, flutes, trumpets, trombones, all starting under $100.
Gee.
All the major brands and all the minor accessories, everything for the beginner and the not-so-beginner. Alto saxes, tenor saxes, oboes at low, low prices, and complete violin sets starting at $119.
Gee.
Complete repair facilities on the premises, and we service what we sell. All used instruments are thoroughly cleaned, sterilized, and shop-adjusted to ensure quality.
Dirty.
You know where we are, you know what we do, so get here now and jam!
Is ready to light the rug, and Sports South's the place to catch all the inside pre-race track talk at the NHRA U.S. Nationals Pat Patterson's Race Week Special, live Friday night at 8 on Sports South.
It's an ongoing, indeed an annual debate about which of the two primary contenders in Trans Am, the Camaro or the Mustang, most closely conforms to the stock model and which might have an aerodynamic advantage. Now, I don't know the answer because I'm not an aerodynamic engineer, but we can do a side-by-side comparison and perhaps draw some conclusions. Let's start at the front of the car. This piece right here is called the belt line. Below that is the extension, that's the splitter and the front spoiler. In the case of the Mustang, that extends out 3 inches from the belt line. The comparison on the Camaro, they have a little bit better extension. From this belt line to this point is 4 inches. But we ought to keep in mind, we are told that both are 3 inches further out than the stock model. Now we move to the hood. In the case of the Camaro, big bubble in the middle, higher than the stock model for air cleaner clearance. That's fairly standard in the racing business. This has an indentation here. Perhaps a little bit of downforce on the front is developed here. By comparison, on the Mustang, we have a flat outside, no indentation here. The bubble in the middle is taller again than the stock model for air cleaner clearance. Now, this vein on the stock Mustang is very subtle. That one's a little bit taller. Is that an advantage? You be the judge. Now, let's go to the front wheel well. First of all, we have this and this. Both have a flare. The Camaro's is a little bit bigger, evacuating air in this direction. But the space in the wheel well is different. On the Camaro, it's closer to the tire at the back than it is over here on the Mustang by a couple of inches. So air evacuates here, less load underneath, perhaps a downforce advantage there. You be the judge. The shoulders of the car at the doors, pretty comparable. Not much of a problem there, but at the back, the difference is a good deal more pronounced. On the Camaro, a rounded shoulder, a gentle curve down to the side of the car. On the Mustang, it's almost square. The deck at the back is nearly flat. In fact, it's subtly concave, so it comes up just a little bit on the outside, perhaps bringing air to the spoiler a little bit more effectively. At the back of the Camaro, a longer window, and then this bump. On the stock Camaro, there's a wing here and an airspace underneath. Here, they just made it a solid piece. The SCCA asked them to, but it does fit the stock template. Now, on the rear spoiler in the middle, they're allowed 6 inches of height. In the middle on the Camaro, that's what it is, but on the outside, it's a lot taller. That's a result of the contour of the body where it falls off here. On the other side, the Mustang spoiler is 6 inches here, 6 inches there at the maximum, even all the way across, a product of the flat deck. Now, you can tip this back and adjust the spoiler to get more downforce or less, but you can't have this plane beyond the back plane of the bumper. That is the limit. Who has the advantage? We really don't know. The debate goes on, but SCCA has announced its intention to take one of each of those cars to Lockheed's wind tunnel in Marietta, Georgia this week and run a side-by-side test. We may soon have an answer. We'll also have some basis for 1996 rules. Now, the cars are beginning to roll out toward the grid, and while they do that, let's join David Hobbs with this week's Chrysler Motorsports Report.
The rules for SCCA World Challenge Racing are just a little bit complicated when it comes to displacement and weight, etc. But suffice to say, if you win a lot, they add a lot of weight. And these Team Archer Motorsports cars have had a lot of weight added, but they still won 2 out of the last 3 races. Mike Archer, you're in charge of the team. How are they winning with all that weight?
Well, I think the performance of the Eagle Talon with the all-wheel drive helps us out a whole lot. And that of our competitors, the last race, having problems. We were just running around 3rd, 4th positions, and all of a sudden, boom, they're gone, and here we come home for the win.
Well, to take a look at this week's winners here at beautiful Road Atlanta, Neil Hanneman once again won for Eagle Talon over Charles Coker. Teammate Willie Lewis, 3rd. Kermit Upton's BMW, 4th. And David Seiss comes home in 5th place in the touring class. Now to move over to super production, I should say sports class, I apologize. John Heinrich's big Corvette over Doc Bundy's similar car, Victor Sifton's Camaro, Steve Dunn in BMW, Jochen Rohr, the first of the Porsches. A little bit of a change there. Now moving back into super production. We see that Paul Bucher won this one for the famous team that won the first race of the year, that being Saturn. Peter Cunningham 2nd in the Honda, Ron Emick, Terry Borcheller, and Albert Merkel comes home in 5th place. A great day of racing here at Road Atlanta for all of the World Challenge cars.
Blindfolded Dan is trying to guess what car we got here, which for you folks watching at home is the Eagle Talon.
This is dual airbags. These are leather trim seats. I feel a CD player, 300ZX.
Oh, keep trying, Dan. Dan is trying to identify this new sports coupe.
Toyota Supra.
From Chrysler's newest brand.
Forget Supra. I feel a Lexus SC 300.
It's an Eagle Talon, Dan.
Right. Okay, just give me a little hint. Can you tell me the color?
I come from a family that's used to winning championships, lots of them. But on the racetrack, that doesn't help, because there's more to winning than just me. You've got to have the best of everything, right down to the Goodyear Eagle tires.
Goodyear, #1 in racing, #1 in tires.
The Indy 500 and the championship. Goodyear's been good for me.
So I can lease this all-new Eagle Talon for this price?
Yeah, right.
And what, the steering wheel's extra?
No, performance suspension, dual airbags, easy!
Lame engine, right?
Check this out.
Talon's 140 horses, move. Yeah, let me see this deal one more time here. What's this part about wearing a blonde wig and high heels?
Oh, I just stuck that on there to see if anybody pays attention to the small print.
Talon ESI, only $229 a month.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. Bill Adam, David Hobbs, and Chris McClure with you under those threatening skies once again. But they cannot take away the beauty of this circuit because it is one of the greatest on the North American continent. And now, let's get down to Chris McClure.
He was 5th quick in the qualifying. That puts him on pole position here at Road Atlanta. And you're familiar with that position, wet or dry.
Well, I am. It's a nice place to start, whether it's wet or dry here in Atlanta. You know, the spray and the wet, it's a good advantage to be up front, not be getting any spray. And in the dry, this can be a tough place to pass. So I'm happy with our starting spot. But if it ends up raining, if it ends up being a wet race the whole time, it's going to be, I think, more of a survival of the fittest than who has the ultimately fast car.
Scott Sharp, he's ready to go from the point here at Road Atlanta.
I agree with him. I think that could be a huge advantage today. We're looking at the sky as it had rained earlier. 77 degrees, but 90% humidity. So it is going to be a very physically demanding day for the drivers. And as you can see, there's a 50-50 chance of rain, maybe with thunderstorms. We hope they do not come in, but always the possibility here in the south. See the clouds hanging over the track. Take a look at the mix of the cars in today's fields. We have 18 Chevrolets, a huge advantage for them over 8 Fords and a pair of Oldsmobiles bringing up the back end. A big, big advantage for Chevy in the numbers game, David.
Yeah, it is indeed. And of course, of those, 17 are Camaros, and there's one lone Corvette out there. So the Mustangs are going to have their work cut out to do well here this afternoon. Anybody's going to have their work cut out to do well here because it is a miserable-looking track.
It will be a major gamble for all the teams. As you can see, there are still little wet patches on the track as we're going to take a look at the grid today. You just heard that young Scott Sharp is on the pole today in that Rain-X Camaro, and outside of him, a very familiar face to us all, Bill Saunders on the Highwaymaster team.
On row 2, inside we've got Dorsey Schrader, a 2-time winner this year, and outside him, Tom Kendall leading the championship, but yet to win a race. Tommy Kendall, of course, looking for his first and vital win here this afternoon if he wants to win that championship.
And, of course, Dorsey Schrader is not yet out of the championship hunt himself. He still is mathematically alive, so a hungry driver sitting alongside Kendall. Going back to row 3, the fastest qualifier, picking up 5 valuable points, Ron Fellows. He is desperate to keep his championship hopes alive, and outside of Ron, Brian Till, who was the fastest runner in the dry session. So Brian outside with the second picket car.
Then back onto row 4. Inside is Jamie Gallus, Ron Fellows' teammate in the Camaro. And, of course, Boris Said with his new paint job there in the number 4 car. New sponsors, new paint. Of course, Boris had a very dramatic exit from the last race we saw from Watkins Glen, looking to do better here this afternoon.
The strength of the car is always appreciated. Back into row 5, inside number 5, Paul Gentilozzi. Outside of him in the Valvoline car, it's Brian Simo, the No Fear Man.
Then on row 6, inside Dale Phelan, and outside him is Tim McAdam. Tim McAdam, of course, running for Rookie of the Year this year in the Trans Am, in the world's best oil-sponsored Camaro.
As we're looking back through the field, you can see the cars getting wheeled into position. Bryce Cobb will be on row 7. Not a great qualifying position, but with his experience, you can never count him out. Outside, the perennial amateur, Jerry Simmons, down from Ancaster, Ontario, Canada, the number 76 Camaro. There's Jerry.